What first date behavior is a deal breaker? Taking me to a multi-level marketing seminar actually happened. Forgetting to take off your wedding ring. Showing up late and not texting ahead of time. You're not playing it cool if you're 20 minutes late without saying anything. Constantly being on your cell phone. Seriously, man, that's so uncool. Once, I was talking to this girl online, and things were going pretty well, so we decided to go for dinner. I showed up to the place 5 minutes early, so I waited and kept waiting. Texted her 15 minutes after we were scheduled to meet, but didn't get a response. Waited for another 45 minutes then left. She messaged me later saying that she wasn't there because she lives in Indonesia. I live in New Jersey. Making me do all the work. Conversation-wise, I don't mind being the lead driver, but you need to at least pull your own weight. I've been on some dates that felt more like interviews. I would try everything I could to get an actual conversation going, but they ended up as Q&A sessions. They won't stop talking about their ex. Once I told a guy he had something in his teeth and he flossed with his long hair. Well, on one first date I had, the dude told me he used to be in a gang and killed 6 people, drove us into oncoming traffic, told me that there were 3 loaded guns in the car. This ride lasted at least 45 minutes there and back, and told me he was bipolar and was not taking any medication for it, but the deal breaker was when he stopped to get coffee at Taco Bell. Starting the date by saying that you've cleared your entire weekend, just in case this date works out and I'm free. No pressure. If he comes to pick you up and pees in your driveway before you all leave. A guy where I worked was hitting on a girl on the lunch truck for over a month. She fillily said she would go out with him. So for the first date he took her to a 30 porn show. Apparently she excused herself to go to the bathroom after a few minutes and never came back. I felt so sorry for her. I would have been scared out of my mind to be with someone that tough. Showed up late getting all done up, told via text, but was in a ratty hoodie, and her clothes smelled musty. Super shy, quiet, barely spoke, even when asked innocuous questions. Until the movie started. Then she wouldn't shut the FK up, kept staring at me, and asking the dumbest questions like how do you get so tall? Do you like movies? I didn't know this until recently. Picking wax out of your ears and sprinkling it around. Just don't, okay? Too handsy right out the gate. You're still basically a stranger, I need to get to know you first. Showing up to the date late on cocaine, broke, and hoping he'll buy them liquor. Then expecting he'll be cool hanging at her place with her and her boyfriend because he's pretty chill. That is how my last date went. When we plan an actual date where we meet up somewhere, and at the last minute they bail. But, wait, they're still free. All you have to do is go to their house. Bitch, no. So, basically manipulation. If you manipulate me just once, I'm done. Smelly, greasy hair, and no effort in appearance. If the first date isn't important enough for you to even shower, then how important will the relationship be to you? When I ask someone out on a date, especially a first date, I expect that I will pay for the date. If it's a restaurant, I don't make a big deal about me paying, and I don't care if she makes any offer to pay or not. It's okay if I pay, or she pays, or we split, but I'll assume I'm paying and at least sincerely try if she's okay with it. But it is a deal breaker when I think she's assumed I will be paying and orders extra expensive stuff because she thinks it will be free to her. My buddy went on a date, and the woman ordered 2 entrees, so she could take one home for later. Brazen about it. Lacking respect for servers and other working people. Possessive behavior. If this is how you act with someone you've just met, how would a relationship with you be? Apparently some women can have profoundly poor hygiene, and also apparently there are smells that I am unable to power through. I wouldn't even judge a little body odor if it was just that. I mean, she could be nervous or just forgot the deodorant or something if that were the case. But I'm talking a foul miasma that lingered in my car for a couple days. Somewhere between horse girl and smash player. She also didn't wear underwear because of it being too much of a hassle. Telling me she has to be home by 10 o'clock because she has another date. Yep, it happened. Thanks Alice. Passing out in their own vomit. Assuming they're going to have sex with me before I've made it clear. McDonald's. Immediately starting with the I love you attitude. Not a very big deal, but I pay a lot of attention to this one. Most common topic on first dates is hobbies, interests and tastes. Many dates will quickly backpedal and change their mind if I disagree on something. It can be about music, food, a place, etc. If you said that you liked it, then don't change your mind after I say that I don't. Shows insecurity and it comes off as disingenuous. We are allowed to be different. Completely different beliefs in politics. I've had multiple guys bring me a Bible and segue into asking me to dinner to teach me about the Lord. They never understood why I wasn't excited. Going on a dinner, or lunch, breakfast, etc., date and ordering nothing because you ate before you came or aren't hungry. It's incredibly awkward to be the person on the other side of that since you showed up hungry and now you're supposed to just eat in front of the other person. Like, that's not weird? If I'm ever single again and this happens again, I'm just going to go home, smiley face. Any comment that suggests they're insecure about themselves via criticism of something that's clearly projection. I bet you got your job by batting your eyelashes. I've been trying to get into X job for ages and it's too hard. Right pointing finger. Or anything that tries to or succeeds in making me second guess myself / my instincts. I once asked a first date to leave and let me eat in peace because he started lecturing me on not eating a burger if I wanted to look like my skinny like a 12-year-old boy, sister. Right pointing finger. If he's driving really fast on purpose. Once in the restaurant, obviously rude to waiter. And afterwards if he tries anything super sexual, I've had dude pull their DK outs, literally, outside of BJ's. Rudeness to anyone. They're supposed to be on their best behavior at this time, so it's a major red flag if they're not trying to be. Asking me to suck his DK before even having a real conversation. This actually happened. To this day, I still don't know how to say his name or where is he from. Talking about their junk. You'd be surprised how many seemingly normal men do this. I think when they don't even ask you about yourself. Maybe that sounds weird, but I had a date that would be constantly talking about her life and friends and whatnot. I would ask her questions too, but she never once asked me about anything. On my first date with a guy, he proceeded to tell me he did sex with 16 women and I could be lucky number 17, and then told me he generously rated me a 6/10. Solid move, dude, solid move. Talking about all the conspiracy theories they believe in. No, Ches, it isn't a commonly held belief that all of the US presidents descended from the same bloodline. Added for all the people arguing that this was fun trivia, Broski actually believed that all the presidents were in league together to ensure that the presidential bloodline stayed pure. This wasn't a case of spicy conversation and wasn't the only conspiracy theory, I promise you. I picked this girl up I had been talking to for a few weeks that I matched with on Tinder. She was actually great. A lot of nights voice chatting and laughing. So we finally set a date. I pick her up. We go to the restaurant. We get to the restaurant. She tells me she popped LSD before I picked her up. One-sided conversation, aka myself driving the conversation constantly and them putting in zero effort or giving one-worded replies, always on their phone reeking of ciggies / drugs, talking about their ex all the time, making zero effort to even be interested, being more than 30 minutes late without notifying me. This isn't necessarily a date, but we went out with a group of people one time and a few of them just berated the waitstaff for absolute nonsense. Nope, not hanging out with you ever again. But sticking with that, I always try to notice how people treat waiters, especially if a mistake is made. If you are cool about it, you've made a good impression on me. General assault and murder and stuff frowned upon. Showing up absolutely hammered and passing out within an hour. Being petty about the $5 you spent on me even though I didn't ask you to. Blatant racism. One guy I went on a blind date with made disparaging remarks about black teenagers being the scourge of this country. He was a high school English teacher in an inner-city school. So I was quite surprised how the Indian people in his apartment building stunk up the place, etc. I pointed out to him that he was on a date with me, an Asian woman, and seemed to have no problem with that. And he said, yeah, but Asian people are a good minority. Also, if a guy asks, so what kind of Asian are you? Gross first date in Despicable Me 2. The woman made suggestions about his accent under the pretense that it was all for his good. Rude and inconsiderate. Correcting people on your first date? Def deal breaker. Finding out that the reason why they asked you out is because they wanted to make their ex jealous. To make it worse, she had her friend invite the ex-boyfriend as well. Skipping past the get-to-know-you conversations and going straight to get-in-your-pants suggestions. I hate that. I am more than my ass, thank you very much. Criticism is a big no for me on a first date. I can take criticism, it's just that first dates should be about getting to know someone, not judging them. I say this because my ex was very critical of everything I would do, whether it be the kind of music I listened to or that I wore a hat most of the time, and she didn't like it. Criticism or judging is a red flag for me. Talking about an ex, or only talking about themselves and not expressing any interest in me. Sometimes I think guys think a date is a time to brag about how smart you are or how great you are. Just be relaxed. When in doubt, ask her about herself. And be a good listener. Hopefully she will do the same. For me, it has to be being rude to servers/hostesses. I had to apologize once while a date went to the bathroom. I was mortified and appalled with that behavior. Servers aren't my slaves and they certainly aren't below me. When they're on Reddit in the middle of our date creating a new post on AskReddit about first date red flags. Overtly flirting with others. Such a display of weak character, and the attention span of a truck bumper. I took a woman hiking in the Grand Canyon. We hiked to the river on the Tanner Trail. We were both high on acid. Yes, LSD on a first date. She stood up and took a shit about 3 feet away from where we were sleeping. Then she told me she didn't wipe because if she started touching her asshole she wouldn't be able to stop. As we walked by a homeless man to get to where I was taking her for dinner, she says, "The liberals have turned this city into a cesspool of bums." I took out my wallet and gave the man all my cash, and told her, "I'd rather buy him dinner than you. I can give you a ride back or you're welcome to grab a cab." Being an hour and a half late and then wondering why I said we should do it next time when they arrived. They couldn't believe it. There was no next time. Rudeness, patronizing behavior, arrogance, talking about exes, like seriously if you ain't over them then take that somewhere else and away from me. Being rude to a waitress, cab driver, homeless person, their roommate, whoever. Don't be rude. Please don't bring your dad with you. Showing you a pic he took from a crime scene he had responded to, firefighter. Not only are you not supposed to take pictures for personal use, it's not exactly something you want to see over appetizers. Not the same guy, but getting arrested after running a red light on the way to the restaurant, with me in the car. Open warrants are a bitch. Crossing a simple boundary I placed. Had a first date where a guy held my hand while I was driving and I said I'm not really much of a hand holder and put my hand back on the wheel. He took my hand back and said thank you for your sacrifice. This dance went on for the rest of the date. This guy also lifted his sweatshirt to reveal a t-shirt that had Jesus on it which said I never said that and asked what I thought of his shirt. Felt like a weird test. Not showing compassion for animals, that's the most red a fag can get for me. Telling me, someone who is not straight, that they're afraid of gay people. I went on a date once with a guy who seemed lovely, funny, interesting and charming. We had dinner and ordered a bottle of wine. About 45 minutes and I went to pour my second small glass of the evening. He picked up my glass, downed it in one and said one glass is enough for a woman. I need you sober for what I'm going to do to you later. There was not a second date. Lady I was with pointed at an overweight lady crossing the street and said whoa. Imagine fucking that. You insta-killed any attraction I had to her. Telling me they really truly care about me. I'm sure guys may think it's sweet and nice but dude, you don't even know me. We've exchanged a few stories and jokes. Being rude to waitstaff. That never bodes well for a relationship. Chewing with mouth open or talking with mouth full. Girl I met, religion is a very big part of my life. I know not everyone is religious, but it's also the reason I'm a Trump supporter. What?